good morning. If you needed a reminder about how important the economy was in this presidential fight, we got it on Friday. Worst day for the stock market in 2012 after that jobs report came out. And how did it play over the weekend? Not well if you're in Chicago and you're running the Obama campaign. 69,000 jobs lost. Questions about whether this recovery is lagging, and fears and jitters about what's going on in Europe. That's where the debate is as we move forward, as there are more jobs reports coming out between now and Election Day. Here with me this morning, Democratic Governor of Massachusetts and author of the book Faith in the Dream, Deval Patrick, and the Republican Governor of Ohio, John Kasich. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning, David.
So, Governor Patrick, here we are.
We were just giggling at the setup. We didn't know we were here to face off.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're here. Like it or not, you're facing off, and it is about the economy.
They attack you, Dave.
Yeah, well, that's always an option. Let's look at the record here, because we're looking at the economic record of President Obama, and here's the jobless rate as you go back to when he came into office. Up and down we go, right. And now it's going back up in terms of the unemployment rate, right. 8.2% for May. Here's perhaps the most daunting chart. If you look at 3 straight months where we've seen this decline in job creation. In February, it was looking better. Then you see March, April, and May. Right. Not very many jobs being created. Governor Patrick, is the president, because of the economy, the underdog again?
Isn't it funny that we talk about the economy in political terms, or about the unemployment rate in political terms, without talking about the impact on working people and families and the communities they live in? Job gains are always good news. 27 straight months of job gains is great news, but we're never going to have the rate of job gains that we need until the Congress passes the jobs bills that the president's put before them.
And we know that that's the silver bullet. How?
But, we need to talk about that, because it's, I know from my business experience and my government experience that investment is what creates jobs. In Massachusetts, we're investing in education, in innovation, in infrastructure, and that's how we've moved from 47th in job creation to one of the national leaders today. And while we've turned around an income decline when Governor Romney was in office to an income gain today.
Right. You had stimulus, though, right, Governor Kasich? We had federal stimulus from this president.
Well, look, I mean, the problem we have, David, I'm going to tell you honestly, the numbers that just came out, they frighten me, because I believe we're going to see, in all probability, some unemployment increases in Ohio. I mean, we're down to 7.4%, down from 9.1, which is great, but these job numbers are terrible. And I agree with Deval when he says it's about families, because I mean, if you don't get families to work, you create real moral problems in your country.
Here's the problem. But we understand that it's about families. I mean, this is a debate in the campaign about who's got the chops to turn the economy around. So that is a political debate.
Here's the problem. When you have uncertainty that people face today, when you're talking about higher taxes, when you have this enormous debt, when you over-regulate, people are uncertain. If you're a small business person, you can't deal with uncertainty, so you sit on the sidelines. If you're a big company, you don't know what you're going to do. You sit on the sidelines. So the talk about higher capital gains, higher income taxes, this enormous debt, highest debt we've ever seen in our history, which leads us to conclude, or business people to conclude, that means higher taxes. You got an EPA that is, overly zealous. You have Obamacare. No one knows even what the rules are. You have Dodd-Frank. No one knows what those rules are. I mean, the rules are so thick you could write many encyclopedias with them. Companies see that and they say, we're out of here. And that's the problem.
Where is the confidence? The governor talked about a lack of certainty. Where is the confidence that people have in this president?
I think John is right. There is a certain amount of uncertainty, and that comes in part because the plans that the president keeps putting before the Congress get ignored. Those are plans we know work. The business community is expecting higher taxes because they understand that is part of the solution to dealing with the deficit. Every economist understands that as well, but we can't get the Congress to act. And that's the problem. What we have right now is a Congress which has decided that there is a political advantage in stymieing this president, putting ideology ahead of country. And that is what this election is about, and what has to be rejected.
David, in 1997, I was the architect, one of the chief architects of the balanced budget. We didn't raise taxes. In fact, we cut capital gains. We also balanced our budget, paid down the largest amount of debt in history, we were running huge surpluses. And that was, raising taxes, that's not the problem with Congress. Frankly, this whole city is dysfunctional, you know, and the executive is not leading. You can't, it's like blame, I'm an executive in Ohio. I can't blame the legislature for things not getting done. I have to accept responsibility. And you know what? I've led, and I've worked well with the legislature, and we've gone from 48th in the country in job creation to number 6. We've created over 70,000 jobs. You have to lead. And frankly, here's what I think the problem is, Duvall. You being a businessman, I don't think they know what they want to do. Some temporary jobs bill, that was what stimulus was. It didn't work. The idea that we're going to have a temporary tax cut, that doesn't provide any certainty. You know what they need to do? They need to say, we're not going to raise taxes. We might close some loopholes. We should bring down the rates. We're not going to kill investment. We're going to streamline our regulations, and we're going to have certainty.
All right, so part of the debate here, part of the debate is who's got the skills to turn the economy around.
That's correct.
Now, you're saying the Congress has got to do its job. You're not really talking about the president's record, the positive or the negative. You've also been dispatched this week to go after Romney's record in Massachusetts. He came out of a tough economic environment. The unemployment rate dropped while he was governor, but he was 47th in the country in job creation. Not good enough, in your view.
Well, that's not good enough, and frankly, you know, no executive in government can do their job without the partnership of a legislature. That's been true in Massachusetts. That's been true in Ohio. The president needs that partnership here. The president has bucked the trend. He's turned job losses into job gains. That's important. No one, including the president, believes that these job gains are coming fast enough. But it's clear that he has bucked the trend, as distinct from Governor Romney, who rode the trend. In fact, trailed the trend when he was governor of Massachusetts. Doesn't mean he was a failure as governor, but the fact is that we had a stronger economy then. We were out of recession when he came to power, and he trailed the country.
But help me understand the logic here. Can I just say, help me understand the logic here. There was a recession. Massachusetts came out of that with rather anemic job creation, but the unemployment rate did fall. You say that that's a failed economic record. You're saying in President Obama's case that that's his calling card, that that's a success.
I am saying that in point of fact, when Governor Romney was governor of Massachusetts, incomes were declining in Massachusetts while they were increasing across the country. That we were behind 47 or 46 other states in Massachusetts in job creation at a time when the economy was relatively strong.
Yeah,
and the difference is, excuse me, John, just to finish, and the difference is that that Governor Romney was following a trend of relatively good economic conditions in the country at a time very different from now, where President Obama has turned that trend, has bucked that trend, and we're getting job creation where we're getting job losses.
Let me first of all, he wasn't 47. When he took over, he was 5th first, counting D.C. When he left, he was 30th in the country. He created tens of thousands of jobs, and the unemployment went down. But here's what I find really interesting. You have a president. He opens up with Bain Capital, attacking on that. Now they're trying to attack Romney. Let me ask you a question. What is the president for? I mean, unemployment has gone up. We have 500,000 Americans lost their jobs, the largest debt. The politics is terrible. When I started in Ohio, it was terrible. You know what? We're now getting bipartisan support for our bills. And that's called leadership. And I don't dislike the president. I've been with him. I like him. But I don't understand what their plan is. So when you don't have a very good record, you know what you do in politics? You attack your opponent and try to shift the blame. What the president needs to do is come out and say, how are we going to repair this economy? Stop blaming Congress. Remember, he was the guy who was going to unite the country. And he can't go to class warfare and everything else.
Well, but that's rhetoric. Do you think Congress has a role to play now?
Of course they do.
Well, what is the role that they can play to stimulate the economy now? If we're heading toward a spring-summer slump, what can government do? You believe in government intervention in Ohio.
Well,
in Ohio's economy, you're doing it.
The town's dysfunctional. Okay, it's dysfunctional. And without leadership from the top, what they really need to do is the president and Harry Reid and John Boehner need to put the country first. I mean, they got very close, I think, to being able to reach an agreement. If they had just agreed on, if they had closed loopholes and had they lowered rates instead of talking about class warfare and the top 1%, that's just nonsense stuff. Class warfare has never worked in American politics. It didn't work with McGovern. It didn't work for Gore. Stop demonizing and separating.
Let me agree. Republicans have to accept accountability.
Of course they do. I mean, you think I'm happy with the fact that I left Washington and the Republicans had controlled everything, blew the budget up? No. And look, but the fact of the matter is, Dave, I hate to tell you this, I'm not voting for anybody for president who has never been an executive. In business and in government, you have to be an executive. You don't run a company from the board of directors. You don't run a government from the legislature. It is up to the president to lead. He's not led effectively.
Governor Pat.
I want to agree, David, with some of what John says, except obviously the last part. But the point about needing the Congress to do its role. When John was head of the Budget Committee, he worked with a Democratic president, and they got good stuff done. And it was important. That sclerotic politics we have in Massachusetts, in the Capitol today, is not about a blame game. That's a fact, and everyone has to take some responsibility for that, including.
All right, but let me ask. I'm going to pick up on this point. Okay, Governor Kasich says he wants somebody who's got that business background, who's run something,
an executive,
maybe even a governor, to be a president.
For president.
It sounds like
Now, here was an important moment this week, not just the jobs report, but the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, in an interview, taking exception, as you did, as Cory Booker did on this program, as Ed Rendell and others did, with the Obama campaign attacking the Bain record of Governor Romney. This is what President Clinton said.
I don't think that we ought to get into the position where we say this is bad work. This is good work. There's no question that in terms of getting up and going to the office and, you know, basically performing the essential functions of the office, a man who's been governor and had a sterling business career crosses the qualification threshold.
Sterling business career. He was talking about Governor Romney. It seems to undercut one of the big arguments that the president has against Romney.
It undercuts the spin on the argument that the president has made. The president has never attacked Bain. It's not about Bain. It's never been. Bain's a fine company, and
you're telling me the president agrees that Governor Romney has a sterling business career.
Private equity has a role in the economy, but Governor Romney's experience in creating jobs in the private and the public sector is fair game.
That's not the issue, Governor.
Does
he have a sterling business career that he brings to the task of turning the economy around?
In
your judgment.
He had a terrific career creating wealth. There is very little evidence that either in the public or the private sector he's had a terrific career creating jobs.
Let me tell you this, David. In Ohio, we faced a huge deficit. We balanced the budget, we cut taxes, we streamlined regulation, and we're up over 70,000 jobs. Why am I for Romney? I am for Mitt Romney because I'm working with the wind in my face. These unemployment numbers, this job growth number, 69,000 out of 300 million Americans, it means the wind is stronger in my face in Ohio. You know what Romney will do? He'll fight the balance of budget, can't do it overnight. He'll cut taxes, he'll provide certainty, he'll streamline regulations. And that's what I need in Ohio.
But you mentioned Ohio. You mentioned the strength in Ohio. I want to put some figures up on the screen of battleground states, unemployment numbers then and now, and then let's talk about Ohio. In Ohio, in the third quarter of the last 3 months of 2010, you were at 9.8%. You see Florida, Nevada, Colorado, Virginia. Look at the numbers now. As you pointed out earlier in the program, you're at 7.4% in Ohio. Florida's down, Nevada, Colorado, and Virginia. What you didn't mention, and what the president would, is that the auto bailout, particularly in the northeastern part of your state, created jobs, not just in that sector, but in sectors that rely upon it.
David.
Is there not some credit for the president there?
David, look, I mean, the fact is we're thrilled with the auto jobs. I'm glad the auto industry has been
Mitt Romney would not have bailed him out.
But
Mitt Romney would not have bailed him out.
I'm not here to debate.
No, but that's a fact, is it not, Governor?
Well,
I mean, you said what turned Ohio around were several things. You did not mention the auto bailout. The president would he not?
Let me tell you. We are thrilled with the auto industry. Give me the facts. 73,000 jobs created, okay, in the last since 11. You know how many direct jobs in the auto industry? 1,800. You know what our biggest areas of job growth is right now? Business and financial services and medical. See, what we've done in Ohio is we've diversified the economy so that we have multiple ways to grow jobs. I am really happy that the auto industry is strong. I'm happy with the suppliers. It's great. But you can't say that Ohio's doing that great just because of that, because when you look at the other states in the Midwest, they're not performing like we are. We're now the #1 job creator in the Midwest. And it's because of diversity and a stable environment where businesses can feel they can invest in the state of Ohio.
May I say we've had a similar turnaround in Massachusetts in the last 6 years following Mitt Romney. We followed very similar strategies as John has followed in Ohio. The reason I'm supporting the president is because that partnership with the federal government has been enormously important to us as well. It's not a substitute for the private sector and for private job growth, by no means. But government has a role to play, and investing in our infrastructure, investing in education is a key role for government. It's something we believe in Massachusetts, something the President believes in.
But it is interesting. You have not once, in the course of this interview, come out definitively for the President's economic record. Your main point has been to blame Congress. Can the President win re-election if he does not persuade Ohioans and others that his economic record is something that they should build on and vote for him again?
First of all, they should vote for him because of his economic record, because it's extraordinarily strong. When you consider what this president has been dealing with, the headwinds that he has faced, just like John and me, and then he's turned around 250,000 jobs lost month after month after month in his first when he first comes into office, and turn that around to job gains. That's incredibly important. What will accelerate that, and what we all believe will accelerate that, is the plan he has put before the Congress, and he has to have those tools. When he hasn't needed tools, when he's been able to act on his own, great things have happened, and the auto bailout is a prime example of that. That's been good for Ohio and for the whole industry.
You know what? I really like him. In the middle of a tornado in Ohio, he calls me out in the blue, okay, and says, is there anything I can do to help? He's a fine man. We need more guys like this. But when we talk about the record of the president, this is just a fact. Unemployment has gone up since he's been in office. 500,000 people have lost their jobs. How do you say that's a good economic record? And the fact is, we still have uncertainty. We don't know what the heck is going to happen tomorrow. They do not have a good economic plan. I'll tell you why. They don't have the experience as executives over time to understand how to make it work. I think Romney.
One of the strange thing is to criticize the president for not doing enough from people who don't think government should do anything at all.
Well, that's not where
I know that's not where you come from, but that has been a lot of the rhetoric in the national.
Let me do a couple of quick things before we go. On our trend tracker of top stories this morning on the web, number 2 on that list is the Wisconsin governor recall. This is happening Tuesday, Governor Kasich. You're no doubt watching this as a Republican, as somebody who took on collective bargaining unsuccessfully in your state. Walker may prevail here. What's the larger political impact, do you think?
Well, I think the public is recognizing that some of the benefits are out of line. Duvall's had to deal with it in his state. You know, we didn't get our referendum, but we've reached agreement with all of our state workers, and you're beginning to see local governments rein in some of these costs. I think it's a matter of balance between those in the public sector and those who pay the bills, and I think Walker's probably going to win. I mean, I think it's really amazing. He's done a fantastic job, and I think he's going to win this.
In your state, Elizabeth Warren running for the Senate, she's concerned about this issue of her ethnic background being a distraction in the race. You have endorsed her. How has she handled this? Poorly, in your judgment? Will it hurt her?
You know, I've only run for one office 2 times, so I'm an amateur on for that kind of thing. But I'll tell you, I think she's a terrific candidate. She's going to win. She's got a fantastic grassroots organization, which is absolutely key, both philosophically and politically. She's got a strong case to make, and at home, folks aren't focused on her ethnic background. They're focused on whether she can be a real partner for us.
And they're focused on basketball, so we know you're for the Celtics.
You know what? If he was really a great governor, the Celtics would beat the Heat.
Well, that's my question.
Everybody in Ohio is rooting against the Heat.
That's it. You hold a grudge. You don't root for LeBron. You hold a grudge.
If the ball does not deliver, I believe in forgiveness.
I'm going to do my best.
If he doesn't deliver the Celtics, he's going to be a failed governor. Declaring it today.
We're going to leave it there. The political debate continues. Thank you both very much. Appreciate it. We'll end on a handshake.